Hello everyone, Karen Cecilia here. It was never my intention to talk about the George Wright matter because I feel that it is a matter that has been litigated already, and any political person with any political sense would have been able to figure out that once the dust settles, an election is being drawn near and all of that, then George Wright would reclaim his position as a member of the JLP and in all probability remain as the party's candidate. Anybody with any political sense could have surmised that is not science, or at least not rocket science. But then I hear Patricia Duncan Sutherland still harping on the whole George Wright issue. And it's not only hypocritical, it gives me pause to wonder where these people live and who they're talking to when they talk. When they come out to say something, who they actually talking to. Which section of the population them talking to. Which voters them talking to when them come out and talk and say the things that they say. And so I decided that I'm going to weigh in just a little bit for a short time about it. Remember to like the video. I hope everybody's good. When I first watched this miniseries on Netflix called The Haunting of Bly Manor, when I started watching it, it sounded and ringed in a particular way. It's interesting. So you watch the first episode, you move on. I am not a fan of horror movies, but I said I'm going to watch The Haunting of Bly Manor. Now, had I read the book The Hill, which I never read, I would have known that it is a similar thing, and I would have been able to say, or been able to figure in my mind how it's going to end. So, when you watch these series and it's going a particular way and you're hoping that it's going to come out a particular way and then it end up another way, you're disappointed. The ending of The Haunting of Bly Manor was disappointing. And I don't know how many people do it, but I certainly do it after I watch a series. I run it over back in my head. For days, I'd be running it back, the entire thing through my head. Every chance I get, it kind of stays with you for a little bit after you finish watching a series, as jarring and mind-boggling as the Haunting of Bly Manor. It stays with you a little bit until you figure it out. And suddenly, in trying to figure it out and running back through it, it suddenly dawned on me that The Haunting of Bly Manor is not a horror movie. It's not a horror series. It has nothing to do with dark shadows and all of that kind of thing and things lurking at the bottom of the lake. Yes, that is in it. But The Haunting of Bly Manor is actually a love story. It's a love story between Danny and Jamie, the two protagonists in the movie. Well, let me keep saying it's a movie, but it's a series. But the two protagonists, the two girls, who fell in love, and in the weird house, and it's a love story. That's when my mind settled on how it ended, and when I figured out that it's not a horror story, it's a love story. And so I tell her that because I want to talk about, equate it a little bit with the George Wright matter. And you might not see the comparison, but hear me out a bit. George Wright beat up a woman. We all witnessed it. We all saw it on the camera. Simon took up stool for lick down the woman. And based on how all of that happened, the whole of us out George Wright. Because nobody not like woman beaters. And based on how we saw it play out, we also assumed that George Wright is not the first time in probably liquor. I assumed that. Afterwards, on inquiry, we understand that it's not the first time in liquor either. But he's not beating, but in liquor. That's what the people them say. So we know, and we burn him out for it. It's a disgrace. But we all assume when we saw that and when we came to a conclusion about how George Wright is and what him do. And we say him is a scoundrel. He's a really terrible man for beat a woman like that and lick her with stool and all the rest of it. And somebody should really chop him in them face or something like that. That we all was like that when we saw the whole thing. But George Wright then did something that we are not accustomed to when it comes to man beating them woman. We must admit we're not accustomed to what he did. So that makes him unique. He took a number of steps. The woman report him, them go to station, him beg her and kiss her ass and plead and beg like any baby would do. He beg for forgiveness. He beg her not to go ahead with the charges. He beg her and plead with her and promise her that if she give him a chance, him going to be better. And she said okay, and she didn't bother pressing the charges against him. And they went back home and start patch up them life. He did some other things. He not only apologize and so him buy her flowers and send her chocolate and do all kind of things and make sure go shopping. The kind of things that men do when they want to apologize for something that they did wrong. So George Wright did all of that. But then he went and asked her to marry him. And to all of us, none surprise, she said yes. And they got married. And them living them dream. Him is a member of parliament. Him do something wrong, him lick her, and the people them sis him lick her. And she gonna lock him up. And she probably hold that over him head every damn day. Every time him open his mouth, she probably remind him. How she could have lock him up and she can still lock him up. We don't know how it might work. But in my mind, and to me, as a woman, is that George Wright paid the price for it. He paid the price. He was embarrassed in the public. He faced practically a public lynching about the whole matter. He was so embarrassed by it and faced such a lynching that he had to resign from his party that he served as a councillor and then won the seat for them as a member of parliament. And he faced the embarrassment and the backlash from it all. And while he was facing all of that, he was reforming himself. He was practicing to behave better. He was treating his wife nice and behaving himself and staying out of the public eye. He was doing what, an ordinary intelligent man would do under the circumstances. He wasn't out there flaunting it and running up his mouth and going on with all kind of things. So I never intend to come out and talk about it. I'll just let us make everybody talk and do what they do and just. No, but I said nothing. I intended to just say to George Wright, if you go to Parliament, George Wright, and none of them give you any flack about all of this, just wait till all of them done talk and just say one word. Pedophile. And then everybody will sit down and shut their mouth. And if them still talking, just repeat it. Pedophile. And they will know what you're talking about and they won't say nothing. But in this country, where, according to the statistics, Jamaica about 28% of the Jamaican women experience some sort of domestic violence. Now, that statistic is not across the board. As much as we want it to be, it is not across the board as a statistic to say that, boy, 28% of Jamaican women experience domestic violence, which can be physical or psychological or even verbal. Some man cuss a woman so badly that I bet him lick her. It's not only that, but the 28% represent only poor people. Because the upper class tappanaries like Patricia Duncan Sutherland and all of them were up there with Mark Golding. Them now report for them abuse from them various nice tappanaries husbands. No, them now report it. Them now report it that him box them down in the kitchen and spill the whole of the damn blasted milk. Them now reported that him dragged her down the stairs with her hair, drag her by her hair down the stairs, and call her nasty and dirty woman. How them now report that? So this 28% is basically poor people, you know? So it's baffling to me how the women in the PNP and those associated with the PNP, people like Judith Weatherburn, which I am very disappointed in because she come out and beat up George Wright. And if I was Judith Weatherburn, I shut my mouth. Them have the gall to talk to anyone about any kind of abuse at all. The upper class entrepreneurs, them in Jamaica, them not complaining or reporting their abuse, including some of them running up their mouth. So, I don't know what is it that Patricia Duncan Sutherland is trying to prove by continuously harping about George Wright. So she's on political platform talking about it is not too late to stand up and choose principle over expediency, and that the GLP can go find another candidate, you know, and that the matter is unresolved. Like, I mean, the matter of domestic violence or the violence between Mr. Wright and his wife is a matter that they have resolved themselves. So I don't know how that becomes a matter that is not resolved. She's talking about unresolved, but I can tell her some things that are unresolved that she's not talking about. I never hear her as a president of the women's movement talking about the underage girls that Dayton Campbell was sleeping with when he was member of parliament. I never hear her talk about the statements that were presented to the court by 3 of these girls to say that he had sex with them when they were underage and he raped them. I never hear her talk about those things. She never talk about it. All the people them were missing in this country. I don't hear her talk about those things. I don't hear her talk about Bunting's 10-year-old boy that was abused by some man in a Bunting yard named Mr. James. How was a night? I don't hear she talk about that. That is abuse, you know, of a child. But we don't hear she talk about that, you know. But she talking about choosing principle over expediency. I don't hear she talking about all the young women in the PNP who sleep them way to a position. I mean, I will start call out them name and dust them up. I'm not going to do it. I'm not dust them up. I want to keep them name outside for now. But this is the president of the women's movement who actually believes that the women's movement is a closeted organization within the PNP that should only address matters to do with politics, matters to do with women as it relates to politics. But that is not the role of the PNP women's movement. And if she had taken the time out to read the history of the PNP women's movement, she wouldn't be talking these things. She would have understood why Beverly Manley and a group of women got together and put this women's movement together, and how Beverly Manley led it and how Portia Simpson Miller led it. People like Minna Wilmot and Stella, and Stella was spelled, remember Stella last name. I mean, if she go read the history of the PNP women's movement, she would understand that it is not a closeted organization that is supposed to just sit down in the PNP and discuss issues as it relates to politics. What about the young women in the PNP who have slept their way to the various positions? Quite a few of them at OLO, quite a few of them walking up and down with Mark. One of them get seat in South St. James. You can talk about she slept their way with the big man them to positions. And the big man them and all the big man them, some of them pass them around. One sleep with that one there and then pass her to that one there. And then you see and she and the one there 3 or 4 of them hang out with 2 or 3 big men, and then 2 months time you see them hang out with the next set of man. Them I saw them pass them round. Don't draw me tongue, Patricia, don't consider learn. Because if you keep talking about this and draw me tongue, I come to come call up the whole of them name. Every single one of them, and I don't want to do it. I really don't want to do it. I don't want to call up the young women them name because, you know, I understand. I do. I mean, I never sleep my way to nothing. I sleep my way to pleasure. But I mean, I can't, I'm not quarreling because I don't know what their circumstances are. So I'm not judge them. I'm not judging them. But if you feel so strongly about abuse, this is abuse. This is abuse of power. This is the man that the party use them power to sleep with these women, young women, sleep with me, hang out with me, drink with me. When me done with them, I pass you on to my brethren, I will laugh and chat. Because you want to be something, and the only way to be something for these young women is to latch on to these men. That is abuse. Patricia Duncan Sutherland. So we're talking about principle. What exactly are you talking about when you say principle? Do you know what principle means? Tell me you know what principle means, Patricia Duncan Sutherland. Principle. What exactly is your idea of principle in this context? Principle and expediency. No, principle over expediency. You're suggesting that the George Wright should not be taken back into the GLP as a member and represent them as a candidate. And because they do that, that is unprincipled. You know what else is unprincipled, Patricia? It is unprincipled and lacks integrity. That only see 3 statements from 3 young ladies sent to the court accusing on general secretary of abusing them sexually and using them and using the government money to catch them. I will not say nothing about it. I will not dry him up. That is unresolved. Talk about principle. Talking about principle that you as a women's movement president never see fit to even issue a statement, something that we can say, yeah, it does sound away, but yeah. Nothing. And you big up the Englishman who is an illegitimate, illegal man in our parliament. I big him up. My proposed impeachment regime. To do what? To impeach people accused of domestic violence, because, I mean, we don't have to impeach Dayton Campbell. Yeah, we don't have to impeach him too, because it's not domestic violence, but what he did with these young children was violent. You don't see that as violent. It was violent. Forced them to have sex with him because I'm a member of parliament and have money. And promise them parents that I'm going to help them build a house. Now forgive me. I have this fluting, don't leave me yet. So I don't understand what you're talking about, Patricia Duncan Sutherland. But I'm telling you that if you proceed and continue to talk about George Wright and not talking about Dayton Campbell sexual abuse, which is basically about power and his sick desires, and not talking about that, and not talking about one of the current vice president of the PNP who went to court for beating Fim wife, then we in the Jamaican public can say that what George Wright did was unforgivable. But the woman that he did it to forgave him, and never just forgave him. She married him. Them living them best life. So don't come out here with no principle. I know the leader going to propose an impeachment regime. Don't come out here with that. Because nobody not listening to you. Because you're a disgrace. Talking about you're a president for women's movement. You're a damn disgrace. And if you continue this thing with George Wright, I'm going to come out here, come list out all of the women them, the young women them in the party, who sleep them way to various positions that them have now, and the all I want to know and giggle and chat them behind them back and go out with all kind of things. I'll come out here and call out them name if you continue this George Wright thing, because it is highly hypocritical. highly hypocritical, and you can't say that George Wright can't serve because there's no restitution and redemption. Who are you to judge George Wright? That's between him and his wife. That is between him and his wife. That is not between him and some woman when be beat up and she out there still around her mouth and she wants something to be done. That is not the case. If that was the case, your argument would be good. But that's not the case. Any kind of restitution or redemption between him and his wife. Or you didn't know. You did not know that she forgave him and he married her and she married him and them lovey-dovey and nice. You didn't know that. That's redemption and restitution. And when the Tapanara's man them drag down them wife down the stairs by them here and box them down in the kitchen and make the milk spill. Don't I think a story me I make up, you know. I things that me know. Yeah. And fling her across the living room. Send the pit them in the car and fling her across the living room. You know what them restitution and redemption is? Huh? Get her money for got a hairdresser. And for get new frock. That's how it goes. Real atonement. You are not Jesus. So stop chat. And if you come back out here, come in an argument with George Wright and in situation, as I said, I'm going to turn up the heat for you. So cut it out. If you know what I know, just cut it out. Thank you all for listening to me. I sound sedated, don't it? Well, it's just that this flu thing, yeah, you know. But thank you for listening to my rant. God bless you all. Stay safe, everybody, and keep the children safe. Bless you.